you ever feel like your morning routine just sets the tone for the entire day? Or is that just something productivity gurus made up?
Honestly, I used to think it was totally overblown, but I've come around to it. If I skip my coffee and just rush out the door, the whole morning feels like I'm playing catch-up. It's like my brain never fully boots up.
Right? I'm the same. I need that slow, almost boring start. But speaking of routines, how would you actually describe your typical weekday? I'm curious if you're one of those hyper-disciplined 5 a.m. people.
Definitely not a 5 a.m. person. I'd be a zombie. I usually roll out of bed around 7:15, which is just enough time to not be late. The first thing I do, though, is a bit odd. I drink a huge glass of water with lemon. It's supposed to kickstart your metabolism, but honestly, I just like the taste.
That's a great little habit, actually. Kickstart is a nice phrasal verb, by the way, meaning to give something a sudden burst of energy to get it going, like kickstarting a motorcycle. So you kickstart your metabolism, then what? Do you eat breakfast right away?
I wish. I'm usually not hungry first thing, so I just grab a banana or a granola bar and eat it on the go. On the go meaning while I'm moving, traveling to work. Not ideal, I know. My mom would say I'm not setting a good example.
I think a lot of people can relate to that. I used to skip breakfast entirely, but then I'd get so hangry by 10 a.m. You know, that angry, hungry feeling. Now I force myself to have at least some oatmeal. So after the banana, what does your commute look like?
I take the tube, about 25 minutes. That's actually my little pocket of time to wake up properly. I usually plug in my earphones and listen to a news podcast, or sometimes a comedy one if I need a mood lift. It's a nice buffer zone between home and work, a transition period where you mentally shift gears.
A buffer zone. I love that. That's a really useful expression. A buffer is something that cushions or protects. So a buffer zone is that space between two things. So you use your commute as a mental cushion. Do you ever just stare into space, or are you always listening to something?
Oh, sometimes I just people watch shamelessly. You pick up on so many little details. Someone's quirky fashion, a conversation snippet. It's free entertainment. But the moment I arrive at my stop, it's like a switch flips and I'm in work mode.
And what does work mode actually involve for you? I know you do something in tech, but I don't think I've ever asked you to spell out your daily grind.
The daily grind. Good one. Yeah, I'm a UX designer, so my day is a mix of meetings, sketching wireframes, and a lot of staring at a screen trying to make buttons look nice. I usually kick off the day by scanning my emails and making a to-do list. Otherwise, I get sidetracked.
Get sidetracked, meaning to be distracted from your main task, literally going off to the sidetrack. I'm the queen of that. I'll open my email to find one thing, and then 20 minutes later, I'm reading a newsletter about cheese. So how do you keep yourself on track?
Cheese newsletters sound dangerous. I use the Pomodoro technique sometimes. 25 minutes of focused work, 5-minute break. It sounds simple, but it's surprisingly effective. It stops me from going down rabbit holes. Going down a rabbit hole means getting sucked into something distracting, just like Alice in Wonderland.
I need to try that. I tend to just power through and then burn out by 3 p.m. Do you have a proper lunch break, or do you just eat at your desk like a lot of people?
I used to eat at my desk religiously, but a colleague convinced me to step away. Now I try to go for a short walk, even just 15 minutes, then eat something light. It clears my head. A change of scenery does wonders. It's literally just looking at different walls, but it resets your brain.
A change of scenery, yes. That simple shift in environment. So after lunch, what's the afternoon vibe? Do you hit a slump?
Almost every single day, yeah. Around 2:30, I get what I call the afternoon slump, that wave of tiredness. I usually grab a second coffee, which maybe isn't great, and I switch to less brain-intensive tasks, like answering messages or organizing files. It's about working with your energy, not against it.
That's wise. I love that. Working with your energy, not against it. So when do you usually wrap up work? And wrap up meaning to finish, like wrapping a present.
I try to wrap up by 6 p.m. sharp. I'm pretty strict about that boundary. Otherwise, work bleeds into my evening. Bleeds into, it's like the time for work spills over into your personal time. No one wants that. So at 6, I shut the laptop and that's it.
Good for you. That's a healthy boundary. So the workday ends. What's the first thing you do when you get home? Do you have a ritual to switch off?
The first thing, embarrassingly, is I change into sweatpants. It's a symbolic thing. Then I might lie on the sofa for 10 minutes and just do absolutely nothing. I call it horizontal thinking, my way of decompressing, unwinding, releasing the pressure of the day.
Horizontal thinking. I'm going to steal that. Decompressing is so crucial, though. Do you cook dinner every night, or are you more of a takeout person?
I actually find cooking really therapeutic. I'm not a master chef, but I'll put on some music, chop vegetables, stir things in a pan. It's a mindful activity that keeps my hands busy and my mind quiet. Unless I burn something. Then it's less therapeutic and more fire alarm.
Nothing mindful about a fire alarm. So you're chopping and stirring, being all zen. What's a go-to dish you make? Something that's second nature by now.
A simple pasta aglio e olio. Garlic, olive oil, chili flakes, parsley. It takes 15 minutes and sounds fancy. Second nature means something so practiced that you do it automatically, like riding a bike. That's my pasta dish. I could make it half asleep.
That sounds delicious. And you just reminded me, second nature is so handy. After dinner, what does your evening usually look like? Are you a book person, a Netflix marathoner?
Bit of a hybrid. I might watch an episode or two of a series, but I try to avoid binging because I'll regret it the next morning. I also read for about 30 minutes before bed, currently a thriller that's impossible to put down. That phrase, impossible to put down, just means it's so gripping you can't stop reading.
Ooh, what's the title? I'm always looking for a page-turner, another term for a book that's impossible to put down.
It's called The Silent Patient, psychological thriller. It's genuinely messing with my sleep because I say one more chapter and suddenly it's midnight. But that's the mark of a good book, right?
Absolutely. So how do you actually wind down for sleep then, after a book that's keeping you up? Any nighttime routine?
I try to do the classic sleep hygiene stuff. Dim the lights, put my phone on the other side of the room, maybe do some light stretching. The phone thing is key because doom scrolling at midnight is a trap. Doom scrolling, endlessly scrolling through bad news. It's a modern curse.
Doom scrolling. What a perfect word for that. I'm definitely guilty. So you stretch, dim lights, no phone? Then what? You just conk out?
Conk out? Fall asleep quickly? Yeah, mostly. Unless my brain decides to replay every embarrassing thing I said in 2012. You know that moment when you're just drifting off and then bam, awkward memory? I have to mentally say nope and refocus on my breathing.
Oh, the cringe flashbacks. I get those too. So your whole day, from the lemon water to the mental nope at bedtime, it sounds like a pretty balanced mix. But let's shake things up. What about weekends? Is your Saturday routine totally different?
Night and day. I sleep in without an alarm, which feels illegal but wonderful. I stay in my pajamas way too long, make a big brunch, pancakes, eggs, the works. The works means everything included. It's a complete opposite. Then I'll meet friends, go for a hike, or just wander around the city.
Wandering without a plan? That's underrated. Do you ever have those days where you intend to be productive but end up doing absolutely nothing?
All the time. I call them accidental rest days. I'll sit down to reply to messages, and 3 hours later, I'm deep into a Wikipedia rabbit hole about the history of potatoes. But I think we need that sometimes. The brain can't be in go mode 24/7.
Totally. So how do you balance the need to be productive with the need for rest? It feels like a constant struggle.
I've started telling myself that rest is productive. It sounds like a cheesy poster quote, but it's true. I schedule downtime like I schedule meetings. If I'm going to lounge and watch a movie, that's a plan, not a failure. It reframes laziness as recharging.
Reframing is powerful. You're basically giving yourself permission. I do think language matters. If you say, I'm wasting time, you feel guilty. If you say, I'm recharging, it's intentional. That's a useful shift for learners too, by the way. Sometimes just picking a different word changes your whole perspective.
Exactly. It's about mindset. Speaking of language, I noticed you used shake things up earlier. That means to make changes to make something less boring. Routines can get stale, so you shake them up. My weekends are my main shakeup.
Yes, and you sleep in to stay in bed later than usual. That's a phrasal verb worth knowing. So on a lazy Sunday, what's the one thing you absolutely do, no matter what?
A long, slow coffee. I mean, really slow. I'll sit by the window, no phone, and just sip and think. It's almost meditative. It's my weekly reset button. I think everyone needs a reset button, whatever that looks like.
A reset button. I love that. So your weekdays are structured, weekends are freeform. Do you ever feel pressure to optimize your routine, like constantly tweak it to be more efficient?
I went through a phase of that. I downloaded habit tracking apps, tried to optimize every minute. It became exhausting. I realized I was optimizing the joy out of life. Now I aim for good enough. A good enough routine you actually stick to is better than a perfect one you drop after 3 days.
That's such a healthy perspective. I went through the same phase. I tried waking up at 5 a.m., journaling, cold showers. I was miserable. Now my routine is just gentler, more forgiving.
Forgiving, that's the word. If I sleep through my alarm, I don't berate myself, I just adjust. Berate means to criticize angrily. I used to berate myself for small slip-ups, and it made everything worse. Now I'm more like, okay, we're starting the day 20 minutes late, and that's perfectly fine.
Berate, good one. So your daily routine isn't a rigid cage. It's more like a loose framework. I think that's the key takeaway. For our listeners, what would you say is the one daily habit that's made the biggest difference for you?
Honestly, that glass of lemon water. It's so small, but it's a trigger. It tells my brain the day is starting, you're taking care of yourself. Once that happens, the rest flows more easily. A trigger habit is like a domino that knocks over the next one. Start with something tiny but consistent.
A trigger habit. I like that. A lot of people try to overhaul everything at once. An overhaul means to completely change and repair. But small dominoes are smarter. So what about evening? Any tiny trigger for bedtime?
Washing my face. Even if I'm exhausted, that simple act with cold water signals the day is done. It's a ritual that tells my body to shift gears. And then I'm not just collapsing into bed, I'm intentionally ending the day.
It's those tiny bookends, morning lemon water, evening face wash, that anchor the day. Anchor meaning to hold something firmly in place, like a ship's anchor. Without them, the day can feel adrift. So any routine you've tried that completely flopped? Flopped meaning failed badly.
I tried journaling every morning. 3 pages, stream of consciousness. I did it for 4 days. Then I started writing I don't know what to write over and over. It felt like homework. I respect people who do it, but it just wasn't for me. Sometimes you have to know when to quit a habit.
Absolutely. Quitting isn't always failure, it's just redirection. What about exercise? You mentioned short walks, but is there a regular workout routine in there?
I aim for 3 gym sessions a week, but if I'm being totally honest, it's more like 1.5. I'm not super consistent, but I cycle to the shops and take the stairs instead of the lift. I count all that as incidental movement. It adds up. I don't beat myself up over missing a gym day.
Incidental movement. That's brilliant. It's just movement built into daily life, so you're not sedentary, even if you're not pumping iron every day. Sedentary means sitting a lot and not moving. That's a useful word for a routine conversation.
Right, a sedentary lifestyle is what we want to avoid. Little changes, standing while on a call, stretching during TV ads, they really do make a difference. Even fidgeting counts.
Fidgeting as a health strategy. I love it. Now, we've talked a lot about routines in a physical sense, but what about the social part of your day? Do you have a routine for connecting with people?
That's a great question. I try to call my parents every Sunday afternoon. It's a standing appointment. Standing here means it happens regularly, same time. And I have a group chat with uni friends that's active every day. Silly memes, random thoughts. It keeps the bond alive without needing huge effort.
A standing appointment, yes, fixed, recurring. I think social connections are the unsung hero of a daily routine. You can have the perfect productivity system, but if you're isolated, it crumbles. Do you ever feel like your routine keeps you from being spontaneous?
Sometimes, yeah. I can get too comfortable in my little groove. Groove, a steady, comfortable routine. If a friend invites me out on a Tuesday night, my first instinct is, but that's not in the plan. I have to consciously push myself to say yes, because those unplanned moments often become the best memories.
That's so true. The unplanned detours. A detour is a deviation from your planned route. So even within a routine, you need little detours. What's a recent spontaneous thing you did that broke your routine in a good way?
Last week, a colleague randomly said, "Let's go try that new Korean barbecue place after work." My routine brain wanted to go home, but I went. We ended up staying for hours, laughing, eating way too much. If I'd stuck to my plan, I would have just had pasta, watched TV. The detour was worth it.
That sounds wonderful. So your routine is a foundation, but you're not a prisoner to it. That's the balance. For learners, sometimes we create strict study routines and then feel guilty when life happens. How would you apply this balance to learning a language?
Exactly the same principle. Have a loose plan. Maybe 20 minutes of listening practice every morning, like a podcast. But if one day you're tired and just watch a silly video in English, that's still exposure. Don't berate yourself. The routine should serve you, not the other way around.
Perfectly put. And you can also weave English into your existing routine without adding extra time, like switching your phone's language, narrating your cooking in your head, or listening to an English podcast during your buffer zone commute. Little domino habits.
Right, it's about stacking habits. That's a term from a book, habit stacking. You attach a new habit to an existing one. For example, after I pour my morning coffee, I will listen to one English news clip. It leverages your existing routine. Leverages means using something to maximum advantage.
Leverages, that's a great businessy word used in everyday life. So with all this routine talk, I'm curious, what's a part of your current routine that you want to change? Something you're not super happy with?
My evening screen time, definitely. I tell myself I'll put the phone away, but then I peek at it just to check one thing, and it's a slippery slope. Slippery slope, a course of action that seems small but leads to bigger problems. I'd like to replace it with something analog, like sketching or playing guitar badly.
Sketching or playing guitar badly? I'd pay to see that. But seriously, replacing a screen habit with an analog one sounds smart. Analog here just means not digital, old school, like reading a physical book instead of a tablet. Do you think you'll actually do it?
I'm going to try this week, actually. No promises. But I think tying it to my face washing trigger might work. Wash face, then pick up guitar for 10 minutes. No screen. That's my mini experiment. We'll see if it sticks. Sticks if it stays a habit.
Fingers crossed. Let us know how it goes. It feels like routines are always evolving. They're alive. They need tinkering. Tinkering, making small adjustments to improve something. What's a routine from your childhood that you still cling to?
Oh, my nan used to make tea and have 2 biscuits every afternoon at 4 p.m. sharp. I still unconsciously crave a cup of tea around that time. It's a nostalgic anchor. It connects me to that memory. I don't always do it, but when I do, I feel grounded.
That's beautiful. A nostalgic anchor. I have one from my dad. He always read the newspaper with breakfast, physically turning the pages. I still like the ritual of making coffee and reading something tangible, even if it's just a magazine. These little inherited routines shape us.
They really do, and they often don't make rational sense. It's pure comfort. That's the emotional side of routine that optimization culture totally misses. You can't measure comfort with an app.
Absolutely. So as we start to wrap up, there's that phrasal verb, wrap up again. I'd love to ask if you had to give our listeners just one piece of advice about building a daily routine in English, or about routines in general, what would it be?
I'd say design your routine based on what actually brings you a sense of calm, not what looks impressive. And don't be afraid to describe it in English. Narrate it, journal it, talk about it with someone. That practice cements both the habit and the language. Cements makes something solid and permanent.
Cements. Nice. So true. Narrating your own life is a brilliant way to internalize English, and it makes the language personal. Okay, Jake, this has been a lovely meandering chat. Meandering means wandering without a strict direction. Any final routine secrets you want to spill?
Final secret? I sometimes dance while cooking. Terribly. But it boosts my mood and counts as incidental movement and joy. So don't be afraid to be silly in your routine. Life's too short to be rigid.
I love that image. Dancing terribly while stirring pasta. That might be the ultimate daily routine tip. And on that note, we should definitely invite our listeners to try something this week. Pick one tiny trigger habit, like your lemon water, and do it every morning, and maybe even describe it in English out loud. Thank you for hanging out with us today, Jake.
Thanks for having me. And to everyone listening, be kind to your routines. Let them breathe. And remember, if you miss a day, tomorrow's a fresh start. That's the whole point of a routine. It's a rhythm, not a prison.
A rhythm, not a prison. What a perfect note to end on. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll catch you in the next one. Now go have a great day, whatever your routine looks like.
Take care and go shake things up, just a little.